Welcome friends to this new video of Sapphire Talks English. In this video we shall discuss the PLI scheme for mobile phone productions in India. Now PLI is package linked incentive scheme. This scheme has been in existence for the past 5 years, that is from 2021 till 2026, and it has expired on 31st March 2026. This scheme has been immensely popular in mobile phone producers in India, and in fact it has resulted in a lot many investments coming to India, mainly in the form of Apple, Samsung and some Chinese manufacturers also. The package scheme of incentives has expired on 31st March 2026, and there is a lot of pressure from industry on the government to extend the scheme on another 5 years, so that the benefits during the first phase of the scheme are not lost. So friends, let's first understand what is the PLI and what benefits it actually provided. So PLI for mobile phone production in India, that is the package linked incentives for mobile phone production in India, was a very unique scheme, the way the government of India had framed it. Under this scheme, an incentive of 4 to 6% on sales was provided if sales crossed a particular threshold. The government of India decided separate thresholds for foreign companies and domestic companies. If mobile phone companies exceeded that threshold, then for every rupee by which they exceeded the threshold, an incentive between 4 to 6% as per a pre-decided formula was given to the companies. So this scheme was extremely popular and it helped India a lot, because it encouraged companies to actually make sales over and above the fixed thresholds. To understand how successful the PLI scheme has been, let us look at some numbers. Let's say by end of 2020, out of the total mobile phones bought by Indians, about 15% were made in India and 85% were actually imported from abroad. But the situation as on today, that is as on April 2026, is dramatically different. As on today, the mobile phones used in India, about 90 to 95% of them are made in India. So this dramatic turnaround has been the result of the PLI scheme. To put things in perspective, let us look at three basic numbers. During the past 5 years, that is during from 1st April 2021 till 31st March 2026, the PLI scheme has resulted in mobile phone production equal to 8.44 lakh crore rupees in India. It has directly attracted investment in India's mobile sector amounting to 12,390 crores, and it has resulted in a creation of direct jobs of 1.3 lakhs in the mobile phone and related production industries. To further understand the impact, as on today, India is the second largest mobile phone producer in the world, right after China. India has about 15% of the mobile phone production market, and the estimates for 31st March 2026 are that the annual mobile phone production has hit $70 billion, with $30 billion worth of mobile phones being exported from India. This has resulted in a lot of import substitution, saving in foreign exchange, and it has actually given a lot of boost to the Made in India slogan of the government of India. Large mobile phone producers like Apple, Samsung and many Chinese brands are now actively producing mobile phones in India. Now the challenge for India here is how to take this forward and to ensure that the gains made during the last 5 years are not frittered away. It is also important to ensure that larger and larger part of the value addition in the mobile phone chain happens within India. That is, as on today, one has to admit that many of the components used in the mobile phone industry are still being imported from abroad, and phones are getting assembled in India to a large extent. Now the next 5 years have to be spent in ensuring that the peripheral industries, that is the industries that support mobile phone production, also get shifted to India. That is where the extension of the PLI scheme for next 5 years, or as it is called PLI 2, comes into picture. The reason for PLI 2 is, or rather the extension of the PLI scheme from 1st April 2026 till 31st March 2031, is to ensure that India's share in the mobile output increases from 15% at present to at least 30 to 35% by March 2031. Furthermore, it is expected that the annual production of mobile phones in India should increase from the present $7 billion to at least $110 to $130 billion, and exports themselves should be about $70 billion by end of 2031. This would result in a virtuous cycle whereby the peripheral vendors, that is, vendors who produce, let's say, batteries, mobile screens, and PCBs and chips, they all have sufficient incentive because of a large production base of mobile phones in India to shift their productions also to India. Now, in the next 5 years, we want to build upon the success of the first 5 years and ensure that the mobile phones are not only being made in India, but a large part of the components used in the mobile industry, such as batteries, screens, chips, and everything, they also get produced in India. Now, the production of these components in India will happen only if there are sufficient volumes to sustain the peripheral industry. So, industry has been following up with government and has been requesting the government to extend the PLI scheme for another 5 years to ensure that the mobile phone production becomes more entrenched in India, and the vendors of mobile phone production companies also shift their bases from China to India, or at least make India their second production hub worldwide. China continues to be the number one mobile phone producer within the world. It enjoys a 8 to 10% cost advantage over India, and the reason for this cost advantage is the depth and horizontal spread of China's mobile phone manufacturing capabilities. That is to say, China produces mobile phones in huge numbers, much more than India. And secondly, it has got a lot of horizontal spread. That is to say that China produces almost all components required for making a mobile phone within China. So be it mobile screens or mobile batteries or PCBs or chips, everything that goes into a mobile phone is actually built within China. Now, the only way that India is competing with this 8 to 10% cost advantage that China enjoys because of its depth and horizontal spread is by competing with China on labor cost. But India can continue to compete with China on labor cost only up to a particular point. Beyond that point, India itself has to ensure that India has the depth and spread which is to some extent matching China's, to ensure that India also has competitive advantage just like China. Thirdly, India is also trying to develop its transportation infrastructure and all related infrastructure so as to ensure that whatever it produces is moving quickly and cheaply to its ports. So India has still a lot of work to do, and one of the ways in which India can achieve this target of competing with China in the mobile phone production space is by way of the PLI scheme too. That is the extension of the PLI scheme, which has worked so wonderfully well in the first 5 years, for another 5 years beginning from 1st April 2026 till 31st March 2031. By that time, it is expected that India will nearly double its mobile phone production and export capacity, and India will be roughly producing about 30 to 35%, that is 1 in 3 of all mobile phones produced in the world, and the exports from India of mobile phones would be at least $70 billion. So in order to achieve these lofty goals, it is important that government keeps supporting this sector. The mobile phone industry also is working with the government to ensure that the PLI scheme too is in place, and let's hope for the best. Let's expect that government will come up with a suitable announcement in the near future. As far as this topic is concerned pertaining to PLI on mobile phone industry, if anything new comes to my notice, I'll surely make a video and get the video to you at the earliest. Till then, I take your leave. I bid you goodbye. If you have found this video interesting, please like this video. Please subscribe to our channel. Till then, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Vande Mataram.